Good evening, Holiday 26th Ward members. Happy to be with you again tonight. It's Sunday evening, and I just wanted to send you some greetings and give you a few announcements. I meant to do a video last weekend on Sunday, and it just didn't feel right, and we were going to send something out, and there wasn't a whole lot to discuss, and it just didn't come together for me, and I think the Lord was just waiting for it to blow a little bit this week, knock some sense into us, and wait for us to have some bigger announcements. I know you're all anxious about the church changes, but I just wanted to say thank you to those that helped with the cleanup or the trees and the branches blown down, for the ministers that reached out across the ward. Part of being a true disciple of Christ is learning to serve one another even when it's not convenient or when it's difficult. And I'm grateful for those in the ward that are willing to put others before themselves in helping. It sounds like that most, if not all, have power back on as of at least this morning. I think there's the last few. Thrilled that we got that Wallace group taken care of, and I was thrilled. I know our house, that we had people jumping up and down Friday morning when the power finally came back on at our house. So I'm very grateful for that. Although it sounds like there's still some internet out in various places. I can't help but think in this latest round of 2020 craziness that the Lord's trying to tell us something. I was reminded today of Doctrine and Covenants, section 45 and verse 35. This is after the Lord has given all the signs of the second coming, and earthquakes and famines and pestilences, and then the Lord says, "Be not troubled, for when all these things shall come to pass, you may know that the promises which have been made unto you shall be fulfilled." And I know that the promises of the Lord are sure. And while it's really nice to have electric power in our homes, I'm so grateful for the power that comes from keeping covenants and trying to press forward in faith even when things are hard. With that, I know that most of you have seen the church announcement this week about changes to our weekly church meetings. It was reported widely in the news, and most of you got an email. Some of these changes are going to be a little tricky to implement and make work, but please know that we're trying very hard to make things work the best. And my guess is we're not going to be perfect, but we appreciate your willingness to come on the adventure with us as we try and make these new changes work. Not all the changes are going to be announced today. There will be additional items that will be added in the next few weeks as we finalize plans for church. But I'll try and give you a flavor for what we're thinking about, and then we may need to tweak things as we go along. All the bishops in the stake met this morning with the stake presidency, and we talked mostly about sacrament meeting changes. So beginning the week of September 27th, which is 2 weeks from today, we will allow up to 150 people in person in our sacrament meeting. And we'll have one meeting per week, and we will do away, beginning that week, with any alphabet split. So everyone in the ward is invited each week to come in person to sacrament meeting, and there won't be any kind of separate or splitting the ward in any way. Most of their wards in the stake are still going to split their ward just because they may go over the 150 threshold. We are going to try it, and if we get close to the 150, or we may have to look at doing an alpha split again. But for right now, no alpha split. Everyone's invited to come each week in person. The clear expectation of the First Presidency and the Quorum of the 12 is to come to church in person if you can. Those that are sick, including if you have a fever or if you have a cough, if you have a lack of taste and smell, if you have body aches, are particularly asked not to come to church. There's no virtue in coming to church if you're ill. It's okay. We're happy to work with you on getting the sacrament, but we just do not want to have any kind of spread of the virus in our church meetings, and appreciate you if you're sick staying home. Those that are in the high risk category, not a lot has changed. So those are people that are 65 or older, or those with medical conditions which might be complicated by COVID, such as asthma or serious heart or lung conditions. You're excused from attending. So, and opposite from those that are sick, who we ask not to attend, those that are in the high risk category are excused from attending in person. So that means that if you feel comfortable coming to church and you're in that category, you may do so. And we have had some that are older that have come to church. We do try hard to make things as reasonably as safe as possible. We can't eliminate every possible risk. And so if you feel uncomfortable in any way coming to church in person, you're excused, and you're in that high risk category, you're excused from coming to church. I've been grateful for those older members that have come and to be able to feel of their testimony. But we want you to know that it's not required, and you should feel no guilt for not coming and visiting and worshiping with us in person if you're in that high risk category. The stake presidency has also asked that we move the time for our worship service sacrament meeting to 11 a.m. on Sundays instead of 12 noon. So with each ward going to only one meeting, we're hopeful that all the wards in the state can be finished with sacrament meetings by noon at the latest on each Sunday. And so that's what we are going to try and do. That time is not yet completely finalized, and we'll confirm that with you in the coming weeks, but that's the plan right now, is to have an 11 o'clock worship service sacrament meeting. And again, these changes start 2 weeks, September 27th. So next Sunday, September 20th, we'll still meet at 12 noon, and it will be the first part of the alphabet that's invited. And then starting on the 27th, we'll have everybody invited to come. Also, beginning the 27th, the stake has authorized us to remotely broadcast our worship service sacrament meeting. And because of this broadcast, it will be a little change to our meeting order. We would expect a 45-minute long broadcast worship service over Zoom or some other similar platform. It will likely be Zoom. Beginning on the 27th, and that meeting will go similar to our sacrament meeting, but without the sacrament. So we'll have welcome announcements, we'll have opening hymn and prayer, we'll have word business, and then we'll go right into speakers or a musical number, and then we'll have a closing hymn and prayer, and that will take 45 minutes, or scheduled for 45 minutes, up to 45 minutes. How about that? Once the broadcast is closed at that 45 minutes, whether you're in person in church or watching at home virtually, we would then have the sacrament. In person would sing a sacrament hymn, and the sacrament will be blessed and passed by the young men. And those watching remotely should also try and partake of the sacrament at that same time, as soon as the broadcast is over. There's going to be no other prayers, no other activity as far as the worship service goes, so that the total time for the service would be not over 60 minutes long. We are excited about that. We know that's something that other people have done, and we're grateful that if you're not able to come and visit with us in church directly, that you'll have this other avenue that you can participate with us in our worship services. We've contemplated sending out broadcast connection instructions or training for those of you that don't have to have online meetings every hour of the day for work or school or otherwise. If you'd like detailed instructions on how to connect via Zoom to our meetings, please reach out to the Elders Quorum and Relief Society Presidency. We're trying to get a flavor for how many people that might affect, and whether it would be good to send something out to everyone or whether it would be more targeted. We're more than happy to help out with anybody that needs some help as far as trying to get connected. And there's no worry. Some of us have lived this now for 6 months, and others of us, maybe haven't gotten on these virtual meetings nearly as often. So we'll try and make that work as best we can. The real fun and the real announcement is that we are going to start second hour meetings beginning September 27th also. We will not start second hour meetings at the church, but we will hold those virtually. So the area presidency has asked us to hold Sunday school, Relief Society, Elders Quorum, Young Men and Young Women's at the same hour on a Sunday afternoon, with at least a little break after our worship services. The current suggestion that we have is to have those meetings between 1 and 2 p.m. each Sunday. Those meetings will likely be held virtually for all adults. The youth may adapt to conditions as approved by the bishop. And I freely admit that this is going to be tricky to make work. In general, it would be good to have all the meetings at the same time for the same hour in order to have the rest of the day to be with family at home and to try and keep the maximum flexibility for people at home as possible. We're still flexible enough that we could make changes if we needed to. We're trying to make this work as best we're able. That means that teachers in Elders Quorum and Relief Society, Sunday School, Young Men and Young Women may need to learn how to teach on a virtual platform like Zoom. You don't have to teach at the church. You can teach from your home. You can teach from wherever you are, from the beach or from the mountains or wherever you are. And that, I know, sounds a little bit daunting for some of us. All I can say is that we try our best, see what happens, and see what the struggles are as we go forward, and then we'll talk about how we want to revise as necessary. We've also contemplated having some training for teachers and using the virtual platform. We have some experienced online Zoom folks in the ward. We may be able to practice a few things before we go live in a few weeks. But we would expect that we could make that work. So, we'll keep the same schedule we had before as far as our second hour meetings. So that means Sunday school would be the first Sunday of the month and the third Sunday of the month. And then Elders Quorum, Relief Society, Young Men and Young Women would be the second and fourth Sundays of the month. And then the fifth Sunday would be a combined meeting. Fortunately, we don't have one of those until November, and we'll figure that out as we come along. But coming up, what that means is that September 27th is the fourth Sunday. So that would be Elders Quorum, Relief Society, Young Men and Young Women for the second hour. October 4th is General Conference, so there'll be no meetings. October 11th is the second Sunday, so again we would have Elders, Relief Society, Young Men and Young Women. October 18th would be the first time we would have Sunday school, and then October 25th we would have Elders, Relief Society, Young Men and Young Women again. That takes us through October. So what that means is that Sunday school teachers have at least a month before they're live. And we'll certainly have more detail on how these classes will work in the coming weeks, but I wanted to let you know and at least put it on your radar going forward. I know that's a lot, and there's some things that we still have to work out, and we'll do our best to answer any questions that you have. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to the elders or the Relief Society or to me directly. I'm happy to talk to any of you about what the issues are and some of the difficulties that are going on. I hope that's enough for now. We love our ward members, and we pray for you as a ward council. We appreciate very much all you're doing, and know that as we follow the direction that we've been given from the prophets and apostles, we'll be blessed. I feel grateful very much that we're allowed to make these meetings work so that more of our ward can participate. I've missed those that haven't been able to participate, and it has hurt me that we haven't had our full ward be together. I hope this will make things a little bit better. At least that's the hope, and you can at least join with us in our worship services. More detail will come in the final weeks, or in the next few weeks as we finalize some of these things. But I wish you all my love and all the power and electricity that you need for this coming week. We'll see you soon.